Hello lovely people, welcome back to a new video. If you're new here, my name is Katharina, I'm the owner and founder of Katharina Vintage, and on this channel I take you behind the scenes of my day-to-day life as a vintage seller. If you haven't done it already, please subscribe to my channel. This would really mean a lot to me and help me to spread my content to more people. And at the end, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. This video is all about my thrifting tips. I'm a vintage seller now since a few years professionally. Before that, I started to sell my vintage clothing on a German platform called Kleiderkreisel, which is now Vinted. At a really young age, I think with like 14 or 15. Back then there were just a few thousand sellers in total. I not only started to sell my own clothes there, or let's say my late grandma's clothes, this is how I started, but I also thrifted online a lot back then because I live on the countryside and we don't have that many thrift stores, still not up to this date. Still, over the years I've collected a lot of experience. I just wanted to wrap them up in a nice little video for you guys. And if you have any thrifting tips, just please share them below in the comments so the community can also learn from your thrifting tips. Now, without further ado, let's dive right into. I will divide the topics by thrifting online and thrifting offline. I have a lot of experience online, but of course I also thrift weekly offline, and I will share all my tips and ideas with you guys. Now, if you live in a bigger city, it's of course way easier to thrift offline in real life. For example, at thrift stores. Obviously. If you want to know which thrift store is for you, you can of course try them out, but I can always recommend just try to map out your city and go to the area where the rich people live. The rich people will dump their old clothes in the containers next to their homes, and if the thrift stores are in a richer area, you will more likely find like super high quality pieces and designer brands there. In my city we only have 2 thrift stores, so doesn't make much difference. But still, I still hope from now and then that I will find great brands. Of course, this is a trial and error thing. And if you're at the store, I highly recommend you to talk to the staff and ask them when they get new pieces. In my case, they get like once or twice a month new vintage pieces, and I make sure that I'm there early in the morning during the week. Because on weekends the stores are packed with like students, so just make sure if you have the time, if you have the possibility, go there during the week when it's not so packed and you really have to time to dive into. Another option, and here I have a lot of experience, are flea markets. I personally go to flea markets every single week. We don't have that many flea markets here in the countryside, but we do have like 1 flea market a week. Those are not really big flea markets, but the pro of a small flea market is that they're usually only private sellers, not professional sellers. So you most likely will find cheaper pieces than on like huge event flea markets. My tips for going to the flea market: make sure you don't dress up, go underdressed, carry a lot of coins, and go there early in the morning, of course. If you do dress up, you will not be in the right position to really bargain about pieces. And also, just make sure you have a lot of cash with you, because it makes your standpoint so much easier. If you bargain and get the seller down from like 5 euros to 2 and then just pay with like 100 euros, just doesn't look good. Just make sure you have a lot of coins. I also always play the trick and say, I only have like 2 euros left in my purse, can I have it for 2 euros? And most likely they will say yes. So just make sure to carry a lot of coins. Apparently I also have the pro that I look like a young girl when I'm not dressed up and wear no makeup. So they think I don't have more than 5 euros in my purse anyway. If you see a piece at the booth, just check it out quickly and then decide immediately if you want to get it or not. If you're not sure and will come back late to buy it, the seller will remember you and you don't have a good standpoint for renegotiating the price. So just, if you really want it, just buy it immediately. Always think about you can always resell it on a platform if you end up not wearing it. If you're at the bigger event flea market, which runs over like a few days, let's say over the weekend, I recommend that you go first day in the morning, if it's possible for you, and then really collect all the great pieces already in the morning, and then do another round on the last day in the last hours and collect those pieces which were just a maybe yes. I will promise you, you will get it for so cheap, because nobody wants to store all the pieces in the end in the car again. It's so much work to bring all the stuff there and then carry it back. I started thrifting online at a really young age, at like 14 or 15. I started a Kleiderkreisel back then, which is now Vinted, and I still stick to this website, not for everything, but for a lot of pieces. I still love big websites because nowadays there's so many reselling platforms online, but websites I do love are still eBay, especially eBay Marketplace, Vinted, Depop if you're looking for something fancy, and if you're from Austria, I can highly recommend you Willhaben. But what you can do on all these platforms is set filters. I have filters for every single piece that I would like to thrift. And then I also use like different terms for every piece. So for example, if I'm looking for an Austrian blouse, I would type in something like Austrian cotton blouse, but then also just traditional blouse, or like white cotton blouse, or just like cotton blouse. So you have really the whole thing, because some websites just use the headline, like the subject line, and this is how they filter. People tend to get super creative when coming up with a subject line or the headline for their product descriptions. I, for example, bought a dress one time. It was an 80s silk dress, and the woman described it as like super ugly 80s dress. Now, how are you supposed to find something like that? So just make sure to have like different kinds of terms and description in place for your notifications. I also have like always different sizes, different colors, and different price ranges. Also all the different names of the product in place on all the different platforms. Some platforms offer also like a summary email once a week or like daily if you don't want to constantly get notifications on your phone. In general, if you thrift online, it's super important to manage your own expectations, especially on platforms like the Austrian platform Willhaben or an eBay Marketplace. They are usually private sellers and they don't exactly know how to describe their item, or they would oversee a whole, but then also the pieces are cheaper than, for example, in a Depop shop. But in a Depop shop, I expect the pieces to be in the condition just as listed in the description and freshly washed. But then what do we do if we have finally found a piece which we really like? I always choose quality over quantity, which means if I like a piece, I really have a close look at the tags, if there is one, and then also on how the piece is sewed. I have a background in textile engineering, so it's not really difficult for me to decide if a piece is really made from natural fibers or if it's made from man-made fibers. But of course, if you're not from this industry, it could be really difficult to tell. So I can highly recommend you to first smell on the piece, especially if it's a leather piece. There's so many fake leather pieces out there, which can be of course beautiful as well. But I always like to thrift vintage leather pieces instead of fake leather pieces. And that's just a super easy way to see if a piece is real leather. Just smell on it, because of course it's made from animal skin and this has like a distinctive smell. Same for wool pieces. Wool pieces smell. Doesn't mean it's disgusting, but it smells because it's made of animal hair, of course. So yes, it has a smell. And in general, natural pieces tend to not shine as much as like man-made fiber pieces. So if you compare a silk piece to a polyester piece, the polyester piece is super shiny compared to the silk piece. Also, if it's satin silk, like polyester satin has like a super fake shine, let's say, compared to the silk piece. Silk is also so much softer and more flowier than a polyester piece. If you're not sure if it's polyester or silk, for example, then just have a look at the seams. The more seams on a piece, the better the quality, because you of course save a lot of money in the production if you save on the seams. That's also always a good quality indication if you're not sure if a piece is really made from natural fibers or not. These are more or less all my thrifting tips for you guys at the moment. I hope you guys like this short little video. As said before, if you have any other tips, please just drop them in the comment section below. I'm super curious to hear your thoughts on this one, and see you guys in my next video. Bye!